Meritocracy is dead. Social mobility has been decimated by the social structures that we have in place. John Rawls described this powerfully in his theory of justice. He asked the reader to engage in a thought experiment. What if you weren't you? What if you were born under different circumstances? This was his principle of the natural lottery. Your success would be deeply determined not just by your efforts and your hard work, your contributions, but also by your circumstances. If you were born in one of the poorest nations in the world, with little access to employment, poor social and healthcare systems, little access to technology, cultural capital, or social capital, would you be as successful as you are today? It is highly unlikely. Without access to opportunity, even the most talented people cannot attain success. Contrast this with if you were born in a more wealthy nation with access to all of the capital that could make you successful. Your chances of being successful would be far higher and you would be likely to achieve it. In fact, having the conditions that can actually help you to attain success can actually make you more likely to not put in the work and therefore not attain success. If you were born in a rough neighborhood of London or New York, that's another example here, and you were forced into a life of crime, would you be as successful as someone on the other side of the city who was far away from all of these dangerous activities? These scenarios, this thought experiment, emphasizes the importance of understanding how our every success is not just a product of our work, but also a product of the contributions of others and the contributions of social structures, society, and government. It is also a product of the circumstances that we inherit, the family that we've been born into, the friends that we've got, the mindset that is drilled within us because of all the people around us. Socialization is what builds us, not merely our own thoughts. We are a collection of all the experiences we've had, all the people we've talked to, all of the circumstances that we've been placed under. That has all helped to build who we are today, and it has all helped to shape our success. We should all be immensely grateful for all of the natural advantages that we have leveraged to attain our success or to have our good experiences and to gain the contentment that we have in our lives, whether that is education, technology, or financial security, or even family stability, which is quite elusive even in the West these days. So if you're ever thinking about what the ideal society should look like, it is not something that we can envisage without having a vision of what it can be. It is not actually futile to dream of a utopia. Rutger Bregman often reflects on this. It is not futile to dream idealistically of a society that can be better. We can have a utopia for realists. We can have our own vision of society that we can work towards building. If no one dreams the vision, then improvement can never be a reality. Now, if you're ever thinking about what society should look like, test it through this very lens. If you were born somewhere else, in unfavorable conditions and unfavorable circumstances, what social systems would you want to have in place in this utopian society where you would have all of the social systems that would enable opportunity for all people? What structures would you want to have in place? Almost certainly, you'd want high quality education in all parts of the country, not just in a richer area. You would not want barriers to healthcare either. You wouldn't want a paid model. You wouldn't want an insurance-based system. You'd want free public universal services. That is an emphasizing point that we can never have a fair society without universal services of human rights. That means water, that means food, that means energy. These are universal services that shouldn't be beneath the yoke of the capitalist system that commercializes them and financializes them. You would also want that you're not restricted by systemic and institutional discrimination. You'd not want your opportunity to be restricted by such derisive factors. You would want equal access to opportunity rather than a system that perpetuates inequalities. And that is the system that we have now, a system that perpetuates inequality instead of providing equal access to opportunity. This thought experiment is not something that our policymakers have considered, it seems, because if they had, and if they had considered themselves with empathy to be in such unfavorable circumstances, then they would provide all of the social systems that would enable people to lift themselves out of poverty through their own hard work, lift themselves into success by having the support around them, by having the opportunity to actually do so, rather than being shut off rather than having the doors closed on them. By looking from this lens, the necessity of universal services and equal access to opportunity never becomes more clear.